Today, I'm going to talk about Sweden, a country famous for its beautiful nature, high quality of life, and good values. It's finding itself at a crossroads. Located in the heart of Scandinavia, it has long been a symbol of welfare, equality, and social justice. But beneath the surface of Sweden's idyllic image, a storm is brewing. Fueled by uncontrolled immigration and a series of bad decisions made over the years, have brought it to where it is today. Let's see what has happened to this country and whether there is a chance to recover and return to what it was several decades ago. Sweden has historically been a welcoming nation, committed to offering asylum to those fleeing war, persecution, and poverty. In fact, for decades, it maintained an open-door policy for refugees, particularly from countries torn apart by conflict. This approach was grounded in compassion, human rights, and a desire to uphold its international reputation as a bastion of liberal values. However, this open-door policy, once a source of national pride, has led to some unintended consequences. The sheer scale of immigration, particularly from the Middle East, has placed enormous strain on the country's infrastructure. Sweden's schools, healthcare system, and housing markets, which once functioned smoothly, are now under pressure, struggling to keep up with the growing demands of a rapidly expanding population. The influx of refugees and immigrants has brought with it cultural complexities. While Sweden has always been known for its tolerance, there's a growing sense among some Swedes that their nation is changing in ways they are uncomfortable with. As immigrants from the Middle East in particular settle in neighborhoods across the country, there's an increasing fear that Sweden's traditional cultural identity is being diluted or even replaced. In certain areas, the shift is palpable. Reports of informal enclaves forming in which Sharia law is reportedly enforced, where local authorities struggle to maintain control, has sparked heated debates about the future of Swedish society. Some of these neighborhoods are home to large immigrant populations who are, understandably, more comfortable with their own cultural norms and practices. In such areas, tensions between the local Swedish population and the newcomers have emerged. This has led some critics to argue that Sweden is creating parallel societies where different sets of cultural, legal, and social rules coexist, often without meaningful interaction. The reasons for Sweden's current struggle with immigration are multifaceted, and understanding them requires a closer look at the broader context. First, the rapid influx of immigrants is undeniably one of the key factors. Between 2010 and 2015, Sweden experienced an unprecedented wave of asylum seekers, particularly during the height of the Syrian civil war. This overwhelming influx, while largely driven by humanitarian reasons, has put significant pressure on Sweden's already stretched resources. The housing market in particular has struggled to accommodate the growing population, and many immigrants have had to settle in temporary shelters or overcrowded housing. This has led to frustration among both the immigrants, who feel trapped in substandard living conditions, and the native population, who see their neighborhoods changing overnight. Second, Sweden's integration policies, though ambitious, have often proven difficult to implement effectively. While Sweden's approach to integration has been one of inclusivity, providing access to language classes, employment opportunities, and social services, these programs have not always been sufficient in meeting the needs of such a large and diverse group of newcomers. The challenge of integrating people from vastly different cultural backgrounds into Swedish society has proven more complicated than many had anticipated. In some cases, there has been a failure to bridge the gap between the cultural norms of the newcomers and the expectations of Swedish society. Also, Sweden's generous welfare system, while a point of pride, has become a source of contention. The country's social safety net, which provides generous benefits for the unemployed, elderly, and disabled, has been strained by the growing population. Critics argue that the financial burden of providing for a large number of refugees and immigrants may be unsustainable in the long term. In some areas, there are concerns that the welfare system is being exploited, leading to resentment among some of the Swedish population. So the question is, how long can Sweden afford to continue offering these benefits at their current levels? But who is truly responsible for this crisis, this apparent decline in the cohesion of Swedish society? There are multiple parties that bear some degree of responsibility for Sweden's current predicament. For one, the Swedish government has long championed open immigration policies, often at the expense of preparation for the long-term consequences. While the humanitarian aspects of Sweden's asylum system are admirable, critics argue that the lack of foresight and planning has contributed to the breakdown of integration. Successive governments have been slow to recognize the strains on infrastructure and failed to adequately anticipate the long-term social impacts of such rapid immigration. Also, Sweden's political elite, which has consistently advocated for more liberal immigration policies, bears responsibility for not adequately addressing concerns from the local population. The public debate about immigration has often been dismissed as xenophobic or racist, leaving little room for honest conversation about how to balance compassion with practical considerations. This silencing of dissenting voices has alienated many Swedes who feel their concerns about cultural identity and social cohesion are being ignored. On the other hand, the sheer scale of the immigration itself has created a situation where even well-intentioned policies have been overwhelmed. As refugees from war-torn regions and economically disadvantaged countries have arrived, many have come with cultural practices that are in stark contrast to Swedish norms. The lack of proper integration programs and insufficient resources to support these new populations has allowed pockets of parallel societies to form, making integration a far more difficult task than anticipated. Despite all this, it would be a mistake to dismiss Sweden's commitment to integration altogether. In fact, Sweden's leaders continue to emphasize their dedication to finding solutions. The government has implemented reforms aimed at addressing these issues, including more rigorous language and employment programs designed to help immigrants integrate more seamlessly into society. There has also been a push to create more affordable housing, with the government investing in new building projects and attempting to increase the availability of housing across the country. At the heart of the issue lies a tension between Sweden's commitment to humanitarianism and its desire to maintain social cohesion. While the country's ideals are rooted in equality, fairness, and human rights, many are questioning whether these values are being stretched too thin in the face of such a large-scale influx of immigrants. The integration of people from different cultures into a society is never easy, and Sweden's experience is no exception. Some fear that the country is losing its cultural identity, while others argue that this is an inevitable part of a globalized world. However, there are solutions on the horizon. Experts argue that a balanced approach to immigration is essential, one that allows for humanitarian assistance while also ensuring that the country's infrastructure and social fabric remain intact. This includes tightening immigration controls to allow a more manageable number of newcomers, focusing on targeted integration programs, and encouraging stronger community engagement between Swedes and immigrants. Furthermore, education plays a pivotal role in ensuring that future generations of immigrants are better prepared to integrate into Swedish society. By providing access to quality education, including language classes and vocational training, Sweden can equip immigrants with the skills they need to succeed and contribute to the economy. In the end, the question remains, how can Sweden balance its humanitarian obligations with the need to preserve its social stability? The answer may lie in a combination of stronger policies, improved integration efforts, and a commitment to preserving the values that have made Sweden one of the most successful nations in the world. As Sweden moves forward, it will be essential for the country to find a way to address the challenges of immigration, while preserving the core values that have defined the nation for centuries: freedom, equality, and inclusivity. It's a delicate balance, but with thoughtful policies and an unwavering commitment to both its heritage and its future, Sweden can navigate these challenges and continue to be a beacon of hope in a changing world. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching. Until next time.